So let's see. Hey, we're live, folks. We are on the YouTube channel. Woohoo! Thank you so much for joining us Monday morning on Movement Mondays. We've got Sarah Perkins here, friend of ours from Blue Water Credit. It's a credit company that we've been working with for, gosh, I think I've been working with Blue Water almost as long as you've been there. What, 6 years you said?
Yeah, I've been there 6 years. We've been around for about 15 years now. So,
Yeah, I've been with them for about 6 or 7 years now, and they've helped a ton of my clients really get to the point where they needed to get to. And even a lot of my clients that I've sent to you guys that are like little marginal things, they still have decent credit. They're like a 695, but they just want to get over that hump.
yeah.
And you guys have been kind enough to kind of give them some direction with the consultations that you guys always provide to all of our clients. They're free consultations, and really, the why I love working with you guys is because there's no BS. It's like, hey, like, we can help you, we can't help you. Like, this is what we're going to be able to achieve. We're probably not going to be able to get this done. There's no, like, this isn't some lawyer's company that's going to sit there and charge you, over and over and over again and get nothing, no communication, no responses, no, like, it's just, I've seen the worst and I've seen the best. And that's why we have you guys here. So thank you so much for joining us and helping enlighten all of us. I learned something new, and I've been doing these classes for years and years and years with you guys. But I'm always learning something new. So you guys, it's an interactive format. If anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate. Just open up your mic, jump right in, and ask Sarah some questions. But she's going to go in and kind of break it down for all of us. So with that being said, Sarah, thank you so much. Really
All
appreciate
right.
your time
Yes.
here.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. And I just want to let everybody know, if you want a copy of the slideshow, my email will be at the end. So you feel free to email me, and I'll have some links and some other good stuff to share with you guys. So I am going to start by sharing my screen here. And like Ed said, so if you guys have any questions, please feel free to chime in, ask. I think they're going to keep an eye on the chat as well, too, and they can stop me as I'm going. But really, I wanted to just cover a couple things with you guys today. So the title of this is kind of just boosting your buyer potential. So some credit repair strategies that are geared towards real estate agents and loan officers. So I'm going to start the first part of this, just kind of going over a little bit about who we are, what we do, how we're different, and then just break down some, credit basics for everybody. So, I've been in this industry for over 20 something years. So, I eat, sleep, drink all this stuff. So I know credit, though, can be super confusing, and there's a lot of like misconception and, gurus all over the place on YouTube and Instagram. So I kind of want to just break through some of the myths and break down some of the facts of credit out there. So like I mentioned, Blue Water Credit's been around 15 years, and we have a couple different services that we offer. So traditionally, yes, we do credit repair, where we are disputing derogatory items on people's credit reports. And those are going to be like late payments, collections, repossessions, bankruptcies, basically anything negative on a credit report that can drive a score down. We are having our case managers open disputes with the credit bureaus and the creditors directly, and attempting to get those items removed by determining that they've been reported inaccurately, it's erroneous information, it's incomplete information. So someone can even technically have a late payment, something that they paid late, and it shows up that way. But if it is not reported correctly across the bureaus, we can get those kind of things removed on a technicality. So I get a lot of people going, well, Sarah, I actually paid my credit card bill late. There's nothing I can do. I don't have a valid reason. That you are still protected by the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that information has to be reported in a certain way. The next service we do is debt negotiations. So I handle all of that in-house. I've been, like I said, in this industry for over 20 years. I started my career actually working for a collection company and a debt buying agency. So I learned the whole process of collections from beginning to end, even through the legal process. I help file lawsuits. I helped enforce judgments, liens, wage garnishments, banks levies. So it doesn't matter how big or small a collection account that your client may have. I can go in and hopefully negotiate a payoff that's less than what they owe, possibly even get a deletion off their credit, get liens released on properties, stop wage garnishment, bank levies, all that kind of good stuff. And then third is our consumer advocate services. So this is something brand new we've started in the last year. We are paired up actually with credit attorneys in the Los Angeles area, and they've been able to take on certain kind of credit reporting violations, and they've been getting our clients accounts completely waived, deleted off their credit report, and money back into their pocket at no cost to our clients. So we determine during the consultation if they have this certain criteria on their credit report that fits what they're looking for. And I think this year alone, we have gotten over $200,000 compensated in the form of money back in their pocket, or the debts waived completely off their credit report at no charge to them at all. They charge their fees to the creditors, and then that's how they essentially make their money. And then the last service is debt management. So we're just seeing with the economy lately that a lot of people are not maybe struggling with bad credit, but just maybe how to manage like their credit card debt and looking for solutions on how to pay things down and avoid bankruptcy. So we have vetted some resources with credit counseling or a 100% dedicated debt management plan. So we hope if you have clients that have any credit or debt issues at all, even if we can't help them in-house, that we will either give them an action plan of things they can do. Like Ed said, we can have them walk away from that consultation with ways they can just do little tweaks to get the points that they need, or give them a resource for somebody that can help them with their debt issues. So I know I see some chat stuff. Is there any questions yet that... Oh, I can't hear you. I think you're muted, Ed.
I don't think we can hear
yeah,
slides.
we're not seeing your
here.
slides.
You can't hear me?
No, we
See
can't.
your slides.
Oh, you can't see the slides at all?
No.
Can you see them, Ed?
I can see them.
We can't.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can fix that.
Technology, right?
It is, yeah.
You want me to stop share?
Can y'all see it now?
Nope.
I've
No,
got
I don't see
all
anything.
three of them, seeing if, no.
Okay. So
I
There
can see
we go.
them now.
Oh, I see you say, I just got a note that says participants can now see my applications. Are we good?
Yep.
All right. Well, luckily I didn't cover anything super important that you need to see the actual slides for, but thank you guys for speaking up about that. So
thank you. Sorry about that, you guys.
And then as far as our advantage, how we differ from different credit reporting, credit repair agencies out there, because we know we're not the only ones. Just wanted to go over a couple key points. We're about saving time. So we work all bureaus and all negative accounts each month. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there like Lexington Law is like a big name that everybody's heard of, charges like $99 a month. But the problem with a lot of these agencies is they'll pick one bureau to work on a month or one account and work that bureau or account for however long and then switch and go to something new. So we are working everything all at the same time, all three bureaus. So that's why on average, most people are with us 4 months and the industry average is closer to 13 months. I think we actually just got somebody from Lexington Law that had been with them for 5 years and didn't have any kind of results. And yeah, they're paying $99 a month, which is less than what our monthly fee is, but man, they've been in the program and probably paid thousands of dollars not to see anything happen. So we're about saving money. So everybody has a credit expert or case manager they're paired up with, or even during the consultation that we're going to give credit tips to maximize their credit score while we're working on disputes. So we're not just signing them up for a program and they're never talking to us again. We're educating them throughout the program here. Pay down this, maybe get added as authorized user. So we're making sure that we're giving them tips that are going to maximize their score with spending the least amount of money. Because I know a lot of Lenders out there will have like these what if scenarios with the credit reports they run. And sometimes they'll just say to pay everything down, where we want to be a little bit more cautious with their money. We want to save it for you guys for closing costs or whatever it may be. So we can be a little bit more direct in the way that we tell them to pay certain things off to get them just the results that they need. We make it easy. Everybody has a dedicated case manager or debt negotiator. So at the most, you'll have 2 points of contact within Blue Water Credit. It's not a call center experience. Your clients, as well as yourself, will have online portal access. So if you send somebody over that signs up for our program, you can log into our portal and check on your clients at any given time, see what we're working on, see what's been deleted, get regular program progress from that case manager. We're going to let you know when we think that they're ready to have their credit run again, based on what directions we were given. Like if someone comes over to us and they're at a 650, but we just need them at a 680, we will let you know when we think that we've achieved that 680 and it's a good time to send them back over your guys' way. And then last but not least, we are compliant. There's a lot of rules and regulations that go along with our industry. There's a lot of shady people out there. So we make sure that we are completely compliant. We are licensed with the DOJ. We're bonded. In our industry, we're not allowed to collect for any fees for services not performed. So if we have to actually do the disputes before we can charge our flat monthly fee. So if you're working with anybody or worked with anybody before that charges like a flat month or flat fee up front to do the work and then does the work after they collect the funds, completely illegal in our line of business. And then we're actually on the forefront of compliance. We're the first credit repair company in the nation that's setting up escrow accounts for our out-of-state clients, which is a new rule that's going to be set forth when we service anybody outside of California.
And I have to say, like, the communication is second to none. It's fantastic. Like, just having a partner that's here for the same purpose that we are, right?
Yes.
Like, we're always picking up the phone and letting you guys know where we stand with our clients. And hey, you know, they've filled out an application. This is where they're at. They may be qualified. They may not be. And same thing goes, you know, with Blue Water and their entire team. Like, whenever they make any kind of moves, if anything like improves, we get emails, we get updates. Hey, we were able to remove these trade lines. So it's super helpful to have, you know, somebody that's communicating just the same way that we are.
Yeah, we want to be a big team, just like you lenders and agents are a team. We want to feel like we're part of that team. We're all on the same page with the common goal of getting that client into a home.
For sure.
And so just further just touch on the compliance thing. Jeff, the owner, and I did a little research lately, and there's over 42,000 credit repair companies nationally right now. And like I touched on, there's a lot of rules and regulations that are state and federally mandated. Right now, only 63 are legally able to operate in California. So if you have worked with somebody before, currently working with somebody, I urge you, you know, go onto the DOJ's website. You can see here's a snapshot right here on my screen that shows Blue Water Credit. It's just because you're putting your name, anytime you refer somebody over, you know, that's your name, stamp of approval kind of for this person or company, and your word is everything in this industry. So that's why we want to make sure and let you guys know we're completely compliant, risk, you know, money back guarantee, all those kind of things. There's a lot of people out there, unfortunately, like I said, doing a lot of stuff that are illegal, making false promises of results. And clients walking away not happy, and then unfortunately not happy with you that you referred them over to someone that didn't help them. And then why real estate professionals and loan officers tend to partner with us. What you get out of it is enhanced client services. So obviously we're providing another extra layer of value for your clients. We're providing comprehensive credit solutions on the phone call with the consultation. So again, if they're not a fit for us, we're going to give them a credit solution or debt solution plan or someone to follow up with that fits their needs. And then if they all do enroll in our program, everything's a personalized credit plan. It's not just templated letters that we send out. It is geared towards what kind of accounts they have and what their goals are. We hope to increase your closing. So obviously increased credit scores often results in higher chances of loan approvals, less delays. Plus, we're giving you ability to work with a greater pool of people. people that maybe have been told no by everybody else. Oh, get your credit together, come back and see me in a year. And then, they're just kind of left to not know what to do. So if you go that extra mile and you're able to work with those people that have been told no, or maybe you're creditly challenged, they're definitely going to appreciate that. You're going to have a repeat customer for life, and you're probably going to hopefully get a lot of referral business from them saying, hey, Ed got me in this loan when everybody else told me that I couldn't get into it. And then last is just the credit education. So not only do I do debt negotiations, I do a lot of these education kind of classes. So we're here to help educate your clients, help educate you guys. We have a deep understanding. This is our line of work. We're studying, we're tracking changes so we can stay at the forefront of things that are going to help your client or hurt your client that maybe are outdated information. Plus, we're all about helping provide you guys with social media posts, doing podcasts, blog material, co-host seminars, lunch and learns. I get interviewed a lot for people for their YouTube, for Facebook Lives. Since, I'm up in Roseville, California, I can't really do anything face-to-face, but if you guys are about building your social media presence and offering more value to your people out there, we are more than happy to help you with either, live content like this. I have several social medias on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube that you can reshare my information, or just on our website alone. We have a lot of good stuff, and we send out emails that help draft up social media posts for you as well that are called credit related.
Cool.
So getting into just kind of some ins and outs of some credit education for you guys. So my goal here is, some of this stuff you might know, but my goal is hopefully you're going to learn at least one new piece of, information nugget that you can take with you, sounding a little bit more like a credit expert for when you go and talk to your clients or whomever. So probably the biggest question I get every time I go out and talking anything credit is, why does Credit Karma, most of the scores that I see online, why don't they match with what my lender pulls? So maybe you guys are working with a client, they go, oh, my credit's great. The bank sends me a score every month. I'm in the 700s, and then you send them over to get, pre-qualified, and they're like 100 points off of what you thought they were. And people kind of just like, well, what's going on? I don't understand. And so I kind of wanted to break down, the common reasons as to why that there are such a big difference sometimes between what a lender has and what you're seeing online. And the number one is probably the difference just between looking at a Vantage score and a FICO score. So Vantage is most commonly used with like Credit Karma. So a lot of people have Credit Karma on their phone or Credit Sesame. But a Vantage score differs from a FICO score. And a FICO score is what a lender's going to use. And I'm going to go in, and FICO actually has like 20 something different versions within itself. But Vantage is probably the most common reason why you'll see such a big difference between scores. And although they look at some of the same elements, as you can see here on this pie chart, they're both looking at your payment history, how much you owe, or what the cards are utilized, compared balances to the limits, or the type of credit. You can see that within the pie chart, they weight those kind of things differently. So just those differences in percentage, like a FICO scores 35% payment history, Vantage scores 40%, the payment history. So just even that off of 5%. And then when you look at all the other categories, can cause, a skew of sometimes up to 100 points between a Credit Karma score and a FICO score. And to break it down just a little bit more, FICO, which has been around the longest, it was developed by Fair Isaac Corporation. Vantage is a little bit newer, and it was actually kind of put together in order to compete against FICO. So everybody's familiar with Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So FICO provides scoring models for each of the three credit, reporting agencies, where Vantage score, it was Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion decided to get together and partner together to make their own score, which was the Vantage score, to compete with FICO. So they both range from a 300 to 850 score. They provide fast and easy to read scores for consumers. But besides the pie chart that I showed, there's some key differences there that can cause a difference in the score. So Rate shopping is one. So you'll talk about, inquiries where an inquiry will only count as one. Like if you're shopping for a mortgage or an auto, FICO usually gives you a 30 to 45 day window for rate shopping, where Vantage only gives you a 15-day window for rate shopping. Vantage, you only need about 1 month of credit history to develop a score. FICO, you need 6 months of credit history. So a lot of times people will need to have a credit card for at least 6 months and have activity in the last 6 months to even have a FICO score, but they can have one collection account and have a Vantage score. So we deal with this a lot with people that will have their credit run and they have no score at all. And it's usually because they're either brand new to the credit world and haven't have enough credit established for the last 6 months, or they stop using their credit altogether for 6 months and then their credit score can disappear. So that's why it's also really important that if you guys have credit cards, that you're actively using them at least every 6 months. Otherwise, you can actually lose your FICO score and have to re-get it again by having some credit history. Another big key difference, Vantage actually treats late mortgage payments worse than any other kind of payments, like on your auto loan or your credit card, or right now FICO treats all late payments the same, whether it's your mortgage, your car, a credit card. A late is a late is a late, and it's going to damage your score just as much as a mortgage, where Vantage, like I said, a late mortgage is a little bit heftier of a penalty against your score. And then last, but Vantage puts a large weight on having a good mix of credit, where FICO doesn't weigh that much on a credit mix there.
So
And then
Sarah,
even within,
can I ask you a question?
yes,
Like this is awesome, because why I get this question all the time. Like, hey, like Credit Karma is showing that I'm a 745 and you're telling me I'm a 685. Like,
yeah.
How did you get that score? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
What is your quick elevator pitch, like that you would like just off the bat, if someone asked one of us, because after they get off the phone with me and they're pissed at me that I told them like what we're seeing, because we, you almost instantly lose credibility when you go against what these bureaus are saying, right? And they pick up the phone, they call their real estate agent, and now we have our partners here. What would you say to them quickly, couple of sentences that would help explain that difference?
So I would just say that there's two major brands of credit scores, and although the ingredients are the same, just like in a recipe, that there's, different amounts of each of the ingredients that go into a FICO score as compared to a Vantage score. So even though I guess it's kind of compared to like a name brand with a generic brand, they kind of, if you look at the back of the box, they have the same kind of content there, but they're weighed differently. So that's just going to be the biggest difference, is two scoring models that look at the same stuff but put different weight on the things that they look at.
Right. Does that make sense, you guys?
And then right here shows you just within FICO itself. So you may think, oh, well, it's okay, Sarah, my bank, it sends me a FICO score. It says my FICO score is, 700. And then again, your lender goes and pulls it completely different. So even within FICO, probably the most widely used score is the FICO 8 model. It's just a general FICO score. And the key difference is the FICO, like the general scores, really concentrate on the last 2 to 3 years of credit history. Even though stuff hurts you for 7 years, mortgage is going to look all the way back and really deep dive into the last 7 years of history, because it's more of a risk to have a mortgage lent to you than a credit card or an auto loan. Other big differences are certain FICO models, a paid collection no longer hurts you, as where in a mortgage score, a paid collections hurts you the same as an unpaid collection. So there's no real advantage to paying off a collection and helping your mortgage score, unless that collection agency will remove it as part of you paying it or settling it. Or if we're able to go in and then delete it. We have a very high success rate in getting paid collections removed through our dispute process. If it's an unpaid collection and has a balance, those are a lot tougher, and we'll tell people. And some people are just like, I don't want to pay it. Screw that card, screw that doctor. I didn't get the services. It's morals or principles. I'm not going to pay it. we will still dispute it, but we're going to be very honest and say, hey, the chances of removal of that item are going to be a lot less than if you went in there and actually paid or settled it. So yeah, so even though you might see a FICO score out there, the mortgage industry typically uses the 5, 4, and 2 scoring model, where the most common ones you'll probably see out there that are provided for free or by your banks are probably going to be like the general FICO score 8 model there.
One thing I'm noticing on that slide right there is there's not a single one that has Vantage on there.
No. So the mortgage industry right now not using the Vantage. So they may be going, there is a pause on that they're going to go into a buy merge credit scoring model where they take, and I think I have one slide on it, but where they're going to take a FICO scoring model 10T, which is a new one, and a Vantage 4.0, and then the lenders are forced to use the two different brands and shop that way. But a pause was put on that because they need to do a little bit more research on how that's actually going to affect your guys' world there.
Oh, it's interesting. Thanks.
And then credit scores to just kind of break down the FICOs. This has to do with the FICO pie chart here, what actually makes up your credit score. You can see the largest piece of the pie is payment history. So this is why we say pay things on time. A late payment, it will drop your score overnight, sometimes 100 points. So you can be in the 700s and drop down into the 600s with a 30-day late. So that's why, payment history affects your score so much, because it is 35% of your credit score. The next biggest piece of the pie is credit utilization or balances. So this is when you compare what your balances are to your credit limits. So a lot of people will hear the rule of keeping your balances under 30%, which is great. When you go over 30%, that's when they start to penalize you. But we have seen when you can get it down even below 30%, there's points that you can be gained. So if you have that client that's looking to just get an extra 5 or 10 points and their utilization is still around 30%, paying their cards down under 10% will give you a boost in a credit score. 15% is average age of your credit accounts. So older accounts are going to help your score because they're going to take an average of how long all your credit cards have been opened. And they want to see usually in over 5 years. So obviously, if you have more cards that are on the newer side, you will get hurt in this category. This is why closing an old account will hurt your credit score as well, because now all of a sudden you had a credit card that you had open for 20 years, you decide to close it because you never use it anymore. And once you close it, then all your other credit cards that you have open are like under 5 years old. So we'll see people score like tank just because they close an old credit card account. So
what about making someone like an authorized user, like say a parent wants to add their kid on an authorized user on a 30-year-old credit card?
Yep.
Will that give them that age right off the bat?
Right off the bat. So that is like one of the hacks out there if you're trying to build credit. Someone newer. That's why I add my kids that are under 18 as an authorized user. I'm actually already building them credit right now. And so when they turn 18 and can get a card of their own, they actually have created a credit score just based off of being an authorized user on my card. So yeah, one of the hacks out there. 10% is mix of credit. So they don't want to see it just credit cards. Ideally, you want anywhere from 1 to 5 credit cards that are open, 1 installment loan, which is like an auto or student loan, and 1 mortgage to, get max credit in the mixed credit category. And then last is credit inquiry. So each inquiry can affect your score anywhere from 1 to 5 points up to 20 points for a hard inquiry. And yeah, I kind of touched on this coming soon with the FICO 10T and possible Vantage 4.0 model. They did put a pause on that, I think, last month. What I like to tell people, though, is the 2 models that they were looking to adopt here were really looking a lot at trending data. And what that means is that they're not looking at a snapshot of what your credit just looks like that day. They're looking at what has been the behavior over the last 24 months. So we may see a change where we'll tell people and quick way to up your score in 30 days, just pay down this card and overnight you'll see a jump because your utilization just dropped down. But we don't know with these new models if they're going to see that's myself. I've maxed out 23 out of the 24 months. And then month 24, I paid a credit card down. It might not give you the boost like it does right now. So we're just telling people to be very mindful of what their credit looks like over the last 24 months, because that's what these models are mirroring is and trying to reward people for their behavior over the last 2 years and not just a snapshot of today.
You know, we've noticed that a lot in our industry as well. Like I'd say about a year and a half ago when the market started tightening, we really noticed that all of a sudden, like people that even though their credit scores were 650, 660 over the 620 base, they were still getting denied.
Yeah.
And so it seems like they're tightening the screws kind of on the back end with Fannie and Freddie, where we're actually submitting something that looks like it should go through, but they're doing exactly what you're saying. And they're looking at the trending history, right? And they're saying, hey, you had 18 to 24 months ago, you had a string of like 3-4 late months in a row. So we don't know if you can quite handle a mortgage if your car was being late for 3 or 4 months.
Exactly.
Right. And I even saw one that it was one late for 1 month, but because he only had a credit card, like 2 trade lines.
Yep.
And that was a year ago. The late was last October. Credit score was about 645. And we were getting a hard stop. And didn't matter how much money he had in his account or how much he was making a month. It was a hard stop on one late in the last 12 months on a car payment.
Yeah. And again, it's just, and I have a client right now, and you think it's a problem with people that maybe aren't making good money. I have one that makes $500,000 a month, but you know what? He had some lates. He had somebody that was paying his bills for him, you know, out of his office and wasn't, you know, staying on top of, you know, what his credit looked like until it was pulled. And yeah, now it doesn't matter how much money he has. If his credit score is not at the score that it needs to be for a minimum, he's not able to get a loan to finance it. What I like to tell people, if you're not working with a lender, or maybe your clients are a little bit skeptical about having someone pull their score, if you are curious at any time to know what all your FICO scores are at, like that slide I had of all like 20 something different scoring versions, you can actually go as a consumer to myfico.com. It's a soft pull, so it doesn't hurt your credit. They have a deal where you can do either $29.95 a month, or you can pay $60 for a one-time soft pull, and they'll give you a real extensive report. But within that report, it will have that mortgage 5, 4, and 2, which should pretty much match up with what your lender pulled. But again, you know, if your lender pulls it the next day and somebody reports something new the next day, you know, something can just trigger it to move one direction or the other. But at least this kind of can give you a good snapshot of where you stand maybe before you have a lender that pulls it. I don't know. Do you guys have the ability to do soft pulls?
We do. And I was just hoping that you can explain to everybody kind of the difference between a soft pull and a hard pull real quickly.
Yep, I have it actually in about like 2 or 3 slides. So
bam.
yeah,
Look at that.
I got you covered.
Same page. I love it.
Actually, I have a question, Sarah. I have like on my calendar every 4 months a reminder to do a soft pull, check my credit, one at each of the credit bureaus, because they allow you to do that for free once a year.
And actually, look at my slide. They changed it to once a week now.
Oh, wow.
Wait,
but that's free?
Yes.
So what's the difference between this slide and the one before? Like, why would people pay $60?
So this one, the one where you're going, where you can check all 3 bureaus through annualcreditreport.com, you get 1 per week. It started with COVID, and then they just announced that they're going to keep it indefinitely. They don't give you a score. So you're not getting a score with this free one here. You're getting a report that has all the information, but just not the score.
So I've gotten this year was the first time I've done it. I've gotten a free report for each of the ones now.
Did it have a score though? Your credit score on it?
It did.
Do you know what score it gave you? And it probably wasn't through annualcreditreport.com, or if it might have been just a real general score. So again, that's not going to get you what your mortgage FICO score is. So I think, from what I know, the only places you can get a mortgage FICO score is if your lender pulls it, myfico.com. And I think you can go to like Experian or maybe the website each directly and pay for them each individually.
Okay.
I don't think they give you choices as to which score they give you, though. Do they?
For
They-
what one?
Like you wouldn't have a choice as to what score you could go look at. They would just give you a general.
Yeah, usually I think they may have different pricing models that maybe give you more scores. But yeah, for a
Okay.
one-stop shop, if you want like all your scoring models for all three bureaus in one place, would be the My FICO, and I'll give you every single one of those FICO versions for auto, credit,
Oh, okay.
mortgage.
Cool.
Yeah, I'd be curious, Lynn. Yeah, if you have whatever site that you've used, I would love to take a look at it and maybe see
I
what's
did it on each individual one. So I went to Equifax. That was the first one I did. Then I did, what was the other? The last one that I did was TransUnion.
Yeah, my guess is they probably gave you that general FICO score for that bureau, like that FICO 8 score.
And they
Yeah.
give it like you go in and you look at, what credit cards you have,
Yep.
all of that. I mean, there's a whole report with it.
Yep. And I encourage everybody to do that, as often they can. That's one of the reasons why I think annual credit report decided to go to one credit report a week, just so people can stay on top of it. And you don't know. I mean, I can't remember the statistics, but I think, over half or more people have errors on their credit reports. And the worst time to find out is when you're trying to get qualified for a home, because those things can take some time to remedy, even if they are not correct and they're clearly inaccurate information. Even with our process, we do have some instant deletion tools. Luckily, we're like on TransUnion, we can get things off in like a matter of 5 minutes, certain items, but most of the time you have to give them 30 to 40 days to respond to those disputes. So, staying proactive. Again, you can go to this annualcreditreport.com, pull one once a week. No scores given. If you have delinquent accounts, what's nice is it shows the date that delinquency is actually supposed to fall off, the month and the year. Another update that came with 2023. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but there was a big change with medical collections. So it first started at the beginning of the year that paid medical collections automatically started being removed by the consumer reporting agencies. And then in the middle of this year, the second phase came in where any medical collections that had a balance of $500 or less were going to be removed. So if you guys do have clients that maybe didn't previously qualified, or you have a credit report and medical collections, like pay medical collections or things that are $500 or less are showing up on their credit report, those are definitely items that we can help with. The other key component of that change was they now have to wait 12 months before someone can be reported to collections for a medical debt. It used to be 6 months. So now they're just giving the consumer more time to work out a payment plan. So I always encourage people, get yourself in a payment plan before it even hits your credit. And then that way you're not worried about trying to get it removed later. So here's the slide on our inquiries. So just to kind of go over there's 3 major types of inquiries. The first 2 have no effect on your score. So first is the soft inquiry. So a soft inquiry, when I say that, is basically if you pull your own credit, it's never going to affect your score. If you're doing a background check, typically this is employment related, your employer's running it. Or it's maybe pulled by a business you already have a credit account with. Like if you already bank with Credit America or Bank of America, they may do a soft inquiry just to see where your credit stands, maybe to offer you a credit line increase, or maybe if they see things are getting out of control, they will then cut your credit line. We saw a lot of that happen during COVID, just to be, they knew people were losing their jobs and depending a lot on credit, which sucks. And so they went back and they started, slashing people's credit lines or closing accounts. I saw a lot more people getting their accounts closed that weren't using them. I even had it happen to me that accounts that had been open forever and I hadn't used them in the last 6 months, but never had to worry about it, were getting automatically closed down. And that's because who I was banking with was doing a soft inquiry and taking a look at things and closing them automatically. The other type is a promotional. So unfortunately, it's completely legal right now when you have your credit pulled that your information is then sold off to, insurance companies, credit card companies. And with that information, then you get flooded either with phone calls, emails, letters in the mail from credit companies. I know that's why a lot of lenders are now luckily able to do the soft pull, so they're not, making their clients a trigger lead where they're getting bombarded by all these phone calls. I had one client one time had her credit pulled, had 99 calls that same day from different lenders trying to lend to her. And it's very confusing, especially if you're dealing with someone who maybe it's a newer relationship with that client. Maybe they're brand new to the home buying process. It can be very confusing now all of a sudden to have all these other people reach out, and then you think you're dealing with the person that you first dealt with, and next thing you know, you're signing an application with somebody else. So what we often recommend people to do is to go to optoutprescreen.com. It's a very simple process of entering your name, address, social, date of birth. Takes about 2 to 3 minutes. And then it opts you out from your information being sold all over the place and getting these type of promotional credit offers or phone calls. It does take up to 5 days to go into effect. So as a realtor, if you guys have like a welcome packet when someone first starts working with you, I often recommend, hey, throw this into like, here's a to-do list of how to prepare to buy a home. Go out to opt out pre-screen. Do you do that with your clients?
I love that suggestion. And you guys, we have a great printout that we can provide you to put into your welcome packet. With this information, we've added an extra email kind of touch right at the beginning of the process. We started doing soft pulls about 6-9 months ago or so, and just doing soft pulls up front now until we reach out to them and tell them about, you know, getting onto opt out pre-screen, because it's rough, man.
Yeah.
I'm opted out, but my wife wasn't. And when we applied for a home equity line, she started calling me up and yelling at me.
Yeah. You think, that all of a sudden, but like, it's funny how I signed up with you and now all of a sudden I'm getting all these calls. It must be your fault, you know?
Yeah.
So it does last for 5 years.
5 years? It's
5 years.
It's legal though. I heard that the Senate actually has a bill right now.
Yes.
To make it illegal, because they shouldn't be preying on consumers like that.
No. Yeah. Right. I do a lot of work with CAMP, and I know that they have a lot of people lobbying to change it where it's the opposite, where you have to opt in instead of opting out. So I know that is something that is being put in for legislation, which would be nice, so that we would not have to make this choice and opt to get our information, you know, taken out of this system. So. And then the last is hard inquiries. So these can affect you anywhere from 1 to 5 points. So obviously this is any time that you go out and actually actively apply for credit. It can be home, card, credit card, loan. In the FICO version for a mortgage, you are given a 30-day rate shopping window for a home, car, or like any kind of credit. It counts as one inquiry. So you'll hear anywhere from 30 to 45 days. The 45 days are on different scoring models, but in the mortgage scoring model. So what this means is if you happen to be out shopping for a mortgage and you have one lender pull it, you can have another lender or 3 lenders pull it. If it's all within a 30-day period, and it's only going to hurt you as one inquiry and not multiple inquiries. Then you also have to be concerned with if you do ask your current bank for a credit line increase. Sometimes it'll be a soft pull, but sometimes it will be a hard credit pull as well. And you'll see inquiries on a credit report for 24 months, but really it only impacts your score for the last 12 months. Just real quick, I'm going to touch on settling debts, because this seems to come up a lot lately with a lot of people having issues with debt. And you'll get a lot of credit repair companies out there that tell you don't pay anything off, don't settle anything, just let us dispute everything and see what sticks and then move on. And which, first of all, you don't have a really good success rate when you do have collection accounts with balances. I've touched on that. But what people don't realize too is just because an account gets deleted off your credit report doesn't mean that debt goes away. So I had a girlfriend that paid, unfortunately, a guy like $3,000 up front. Man, her credit looked immaculate. But what she didn't realize is she still owed the debt, and she is now facing 2 lawsuits right now. So the debts were still within the statute of limitations. So in California, a creditor has up to 4 years to sue you from the last time that you paid on a debt. So even though it was removed, she thought, and it wasn't explained to her, that, oh, I don't owe this debt anymore. They can still try to collect. They can still try to call you. They can still try to send you letters. You still technically owe the debt. You've just basically taken the ability for them to use the credit reporting mechanism to, you know, entice you to pay because it's hurting your credit out of their hands. What also happens is utility, phone bills, and cable companies are notorious for this. They will place it with a collection company for 30, 60 days. They don't do the job in collecting it. They pull it back. It gets deleted from your credit report. You think you're scot-free. Oh, it disappeared out of nowhere. I'm so happy. And then next month, it's a new collection agency that now reports it onto credit report. So the last thing you want is that for those debts move around all the time, is you think it's gone, and then all of a sudden your lender goes to pull credit, and now it's just been placed with a new third-party collection agency, and it's been re-reported with this new agency. So that happens a lot. Also with charge-off cards, you can run into double reporting. You have it's very common, like up here we have a Travis Credit Union, and they use a collection company called PCS. If the credit card company has charged off the credit card but has not sold the debt, they can still report the debt as unpaid, and the collection company can report the debt as unpaid. So you can actually get hit twice on your credit report for the same account. I have one client with the Travis Credit Union, and they're two different balances, and it's because the one with the collection agency is now, accruing interest. So you're getting double reporting. If it's on a credit card, it still hurts your utilization. So if they closed your credit line because you didn't pay your card and it charged off, it looks like you're at like 100 or 110% utilization. So not only do you have a derogatory account, which is like the number one component of a credit score, now your utilization is over 100%. So now like 65% of your score is being like determined by these negative accounts, which can drive a score, down super low.
So for clarification, when you gave the example of the phone and cable bills,
yes,
where it looks like it disappeared, but then it shows up again. So is that the same as what you were just describing, that double reporting? So in that case, would it look like, someone missed a payment and then missed a payment again? Like every time they bring a new company to go after someone, does that mean that, or would it in some way indicate that it's the same, delinquent payment or something? I don't know if I'm making sense.
So when it's with the utility one or the phone one, it's almost like you get hurt with it and then it disappears. So then your credit score goes up and then it gets re-reported by the next collection agency. So you'll see this up and down kind of behavior. With the Travis Credit Union one, yeah, you're seeing activity being reported at the same time on the same account. So it won't be, usually that's at a point of charge off. So you're not getting hit with 30-day late, 90-day late anymore, because you've already gone. Charge off means basically you've gone over 180 days past due. So once you're 180 days past due and charged off, that's the status. You don't get a 30-day late or 60-day late after that period, but you're seeing two negative accounts with two balances on your credit report that are hurting you. So, and we checked, we thought for the longest time that was illegal until we started working with our credit attorneys, and they said, no, that's completely legal. What is illegal is if Bank of America sells your debt and they still report the balance, and then the new agency like Portfolio Recovery is a really big debt buyer out there, or Midland Credit. So Midland Credit and Bank of America both can't report that you owe a balance because Bank of America has sold that account. So that's the only time where they won't remove themselves, but they should say like charged off and the balance owing should be zero. But now Midland's now reporting that balance because they purchased it, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the difference between a third-party collection agency collects on behalf of the creditor, and then a debt buyer purchases the debt, and now they are the new owners of it. Both third parties and debt buyers, going into the next ones, are huge ones that I can do deletions with. So the last 10 plus years, I've been doing debt negotiations. I've settled probably over like $10 million in debt. So I have a connection with pretty much every bank, every collection agency, every debt buyer out there. I pretty much know who will settle for what percentage, who will give me a deletion, who will give me a deletion letter that I can maybe give the lender that can do a rapid rescore with that deletion letter. The downside is if you go and have the client pay that debt and it's somebody I had the relationship with, I can't get the deletion after the fact. We have to go through the dispute process. So I always tell people, like, talk to a professional. Our consultations are risk-free. Don't have them pay off anything because once you pay it, you really can't take it back. And then that takes my negotiating power away from me. And I'll even be honest, there's some creditors out there that the client can get a much better deal with and get the deletion, I will coach them through how to do it and not charge my normal fee, because I'm all about them saving the most amount of money. So if I know I can't save them the most amount of money, but if I can coach them on how to call and say the right things, some will do it. Some will just say, I don't care, Sarah, I'll just pay your fee. I don't want to talk to them at all. I don't want to talk to collection people. They're mean, they're scary. I get it. I was in the industry. So, but yeah, you just want to be really careful before you go and pay or negotiate anything, and don't get tricked into paying something that's old. I see this happen where it's not even on your credit report anymore, or it's past that statute of limitations of the 4 years. You make even $1 payment on it, you could renew that clock and then getting to be sued again, or have it maybe possibly re-report onto your credit report. So you'll get a lot of these debt buyers that buy really, really old debt and prey on people not knowing that they really can't do anything except just call them. And you'll get people entering into payment plans, and then they, don't go through the payment plan. Next thing you know, they're getting sued on the debt again. So, or getting sued on the debt that was already past the statute of limitations. So part of our process is putting accounts in dispute. So I hear this all the time, like, when an account is in dispute, it does give you a false sense of a higher credit score, typically, because they can't count those accounts that are in a dispute status against your credit score. So we do walk all of our clients through on getting all those disputes removed before the lender goes and pulls the final credit report. If you do have any clients that have done disputes on their own and you need them to get them removed relatively quickly, this is the slide that has the contact numbers and exactly what to say to all the bureaus. And typically they will get removed. Those disputes will get removed in 72 hours or less with these phone numbers and this script that we have here. So the last 2 slides I'm just going to go into are some credit mistakes, make sure not to make, and some credit tips to leave you guys with. So the 4 biggest credit score mistakes I see out there: paying late or a new collection. So I've talked on this, that one derogatory account can drop your score by 80 to 100 points. So we all know that a late payment is going to hurt us. But what most people don't, how they get hurt by this category is first either not checking their auto pay by like maybe setting it up on a fixed dollar amount. Maybe they set it up for $100 and that was more than the minimum payment at the time, but then they decided to charge some more on their card. Now their minimum payment went up to $105, but they didn't check it. And so they're only paying $100. And because they were missing that $5 that they're short in their payment, they go 30 days late. So I tell people, go in and check your auto pay. Make sure you're at least paying the minimum amount due. Make sure that you're not missing any annual fees. So this happens if you maybe don't use a card that often, and then you're hit with that annual fee. And because you're not set up on auto pay, that $69 now just that you didn't pay for that annual fee just tanked your score, 100 points. So those are things that we can try to fix. So obviously you can send those to us for a consultation. Maxing out a card, a big no-no. Again, I talked about paying it under 10%. If you're limited on funds, maybe asking for a credit line increase to offset the utilization. So yeah, you may take a hit of 1 to 5 points for the inquiry. But if they double your credit line and you can drop your utilization down by 10 or 20% by just getting a credit line increase, that 1 to 5 point hit is well worth it. And a little trick there, I get this with people that usually pay their cards off each month, but don't realize why their utilization is still high. Whatever balance is reported on your statement is typically the balance that is reported to the bureaus. So most consumers, we pay our credit cards by the due date. The statement comes out, we see what we owe, we're given till this date to pay. Well, once that statement comes out, that balance has already been reported to the credit bureaus. So you make your payment, maybe it goes down to 0, and then you go over and use a card again, just like you normally would each month. This is, a lot for business owners or people that use it for points and can't understand, well, why is my utilization very high? What you need to do if you want to trick the system is actually to go on your account, find out when your statement closes and pay the balance or pay whatever off, maybe like a week before the statement balance closes or the statement closes. So if you have a client that's looking for a quick, increase there, have them go in and pay it early. My dad just did this trick. He didn't believe me, even though I've been in it for 20 years, and went and did it. And his score jumped up like 60 points just for paying his balance off before the statement closes instead of waiting for the due date. So a
Cool.
little trick there.
Great trick.
Yeah. And then applying for new credit. So obviously that you have where it can hurt you with inquiries, and sometimes 1 to 5 points. It's a matter of different, tiers that you move into. So you want to be careful with the inquiries if you're teetering right on moving from one tier to the next as far as your credit score. But also remember, anytime you open a new account, you're also adjusting the average length that your credit cards have been open. So you're offsetting all your old cards. So we always tell people, if you're in the middle of a process of buying a home, hold off on any kind of new credit, balance transfers, anything like that while you are in the process until everything is done and closed with.
But
and then
applying for that new credit, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Applying
yeah.
for that new credit, right?
Yeah.
So I encourage my clients to shop me around. Like, go ahead, you might find a better rate out there if you shop hard enough. But it's going to be really tough to beat the level of service that we're going to provide you. And at the end of the day, what comes around goes around. So people leave because of service. People leave because of rate, right? And people also come to us for those reasons. So how do we encourage folks and teach them, like, hey, like, it's okay. So you ran your credit, you went into your credit union, you applied last week. Like, is it going to ding you? Is it going to hurt you? Don't you have 30 to 45 days to apply for that new credit with another bank and shop around without getting dinged?
Yeah.
30 to 45 days, you guys. So
Yeah.
please, it's important for people to shop this stuff around. I mean, look at, they're going to be spending how much money on a home?
Yep.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, and ensuring a smooth transaction and having a good interest rate and somebody to work with that you guys prefer as well. I mean, that'll make all the difference in the world. So, hey, just because someone applied, 30 to 45 days, you guys, shop it around. It's okay.
So let me try to, I know we're getting short on time here. And I
Yes,
appreciate you
thank
guys
you.
sticking with me. So I'll try to run through the rest of this real quick. So I talked about don't close old accounts. So make sure you're using your accounts every 3 to 6 months so they don't close them on you. Increase your score 50 points in the next 30 days. So obviously we touched on paying down balances. Start with the lowest balance card. If you're tight on money, just paying one maxed out card down, even a $500 maxed out card, hurts you sometimes the same as a $10,000 maxed out card. So you might be able to get enough points by just paying that small one off. Authorized user, we brought that up. Getting added as an authorized user, you can get added onto somebody's card and basically inherit their whole credit history for that specific card. So if you're looking to gain average length of time for credit, maybe that card doesn't have any balances, so it helps you with your utilization. There's a number of reasons how being added as an authorized user can help you. But remember, if there's bad credit history or they max out their card or miss their payment, it will hurt you as well. So you can also have to get yourself removed. If you don't have someone that can add you as an authorized user, we do have products for a secured credit card. Also, we have a really cool product called a credit builder loan. So these are for people that don't have a car or student loan and need a good mix of credit. This is a savings account you pay a minimum of $15 a month into, and it shows up like an installment loan on your account. So if you're needing to add some mix of credit and don't want to go out and go get a car loan or a student loan, this is a savings account, and then you can pull the money out, I think, after a year. And then we always do risk-free consultations, so we can look at each person's situation individually. And then I just want to close with, if you guys do have clients for us, even as a real estate agent, you can send them over to us. We usually prefer an email introduction, which would be between me, you, and the client, just introducing each other. From there, I will get them set up for a consultation. We will update you on the outcome of that consultation. If they hire us, you'll get login credentials. We'll let you know when it's time to pull credit, and we'll also let you know when they are finished with our program. And then here's just a quick look at our website. So we have tons of great information that you guys can download on there. Services, we have those credit builder tools on there, the loans, the credit cards, the education, and then blogs. Referral partners, if you don't want to do a 3-way email, there is a form you can fill out online and plug their information in and upload a credit report if you have it, if you wanted to do it that way. So again, I know I covered a ton of information, but if you guys are interested in getting on our email list, I know we do lots of different kind of classes. We're doing a 2024 building wealth class and, building planning class later this week that we always invite all of our database to. So if you want to get added to my database, just send me a quick email, sarah@bluewatercredit.com. I'll also send you back our most recent ebook, a link for the credit builder tools, and a copy of this presentation.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It was awesome.
So let me
Thank you,
stop
thank you,
share
thank you.
there.
Really appreciate your time coming out here and educating all of us. I mean, I learned something new. I always
Yep.
learn something new from you guys. You guys are fantastic. And thank you for being such an amazing partner.
Yes, yes.
Really help us all out with all of our clients.
Awesome.
It's awesome to have you guys on the team.
Thank you again. Well, if you guys ever have any questions, any credit questions, feel free, again, reach out to me. I'm available to answer whatever questions you guys might have and be a partner for you.
For sure. Thanks.